Okay, so I believe that we can start. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this session, today's session, where Helmut Warnon, system engineer, Europe and NetWitness will show how the combination of BforeAI Predictive Intelligence and NetWitness Deep Visibility allow the security teams to detect threats sooner and significantly reduce the time to containment. Helmut, if you can move forward. Thank you. This is the agenda of today. So Helmut is going to give a quick introduction of NetWitness, explain why traditional security is failing, and how does predictive intelligence work, and then he will show concrete business outcomes. Before moving forward, I want to give you a couple of information. So the recording will be sent to you all by 24 hours, and you can use the Q&A function to submit your question. We will answer to your question at the end of the session. So thank you, enjoy the webinar, and Helmut, this is with you.
Thank you, Monica. Good morning, good afternoon to all of you from my side as well. Thanks for joining. Before we dive into today's theme, I want to give you a quick introduction about NetWitness, what we are doing, how we are helping our customers, our analysts in the SOCs to perform the tasks that they need to do in their daily work in a very, very efficient way. So for us at NetWitness, visibility is the key. That was always the case since the beginning. There is a saying like you cannot detect what you can't see, which means we need to give our customers the tools to be able to collect data wherever they need to have them from. And that includes, in some cases, network data, log data, endpoint data. We are talking about SASE nowadays. We have OT. And this data is then parsed by our patented technology and indexed and stored in raw format for forensics investigation purposes. I think most of you know that already, but just as a reminder. And because we have all the raw data available, it is like a replay from a digital video recorder where you can go back in time and access all the information to get the full picture, to get the full visibility. But visibility alone is not enough. We also need the detection. We need to get insight into what we have captured, what we have collected, because that's why we are collecting the data. And we give our customers several tools, several ways to work with this data, to have detection with this data. So we have the classical correlation rules that you might know from maybe SIM solutions, but that's not the only thing. We also do machine learning, behavior analytics, and also working on artificial intelligence agents that will help you to get more insight. And we also, one thing that you might not forget is threat intelligence, and threat intelligence here in the inside as well in the visibility. That's a key thing. And BforeAI, which is the theme of this webinar now, is helping us in this area, or is helping customers in this area to get even more visibility, more insight into what has been collected. And finally, if one of those rules, one of those policies that you have in place has detected something, has spotted something, we're creating actionable incidents where security teams have access to all the information, to all the alerts, to the raw data, to the index data, and can then judge what to do with this incident, with this alert that just has been detected. And this is also powered by orchestration and automation, which is also available from NetWitness. How we do that, just the last slide on NetWitness, on the architecture. On the left side, we have the visibility where we are able to collect data wherever the customer needs it or wherever the customer is producing it. That can be on-prem in virtualized or environment or hardware-based environments. We can collect data from OT environments, but we are not limited to that. We can also connect in cloud and SASE environments the data, just to give data points to collect the data points to collect all the data. And this data can be, as I mentioned, packets from the network, logs, endpoints, OT environment, and threat intel. That's specifically the theme today, where we get the BforeAI Predictive Intelligence also as one of the data sources that send data to us. This data is then being indexed by using parser to extract the metadata. We are indexing that metadata, and we make that data available for not only detection, but also for the possibility to do investigation. In the real-time detection, user behavior analytics, and AI models, we are able to use this data, which we just have captured and indexed, to detect some alerts or some threats and produce actionable alerts out of that. And that can then, in the action side, be used by your SOC analysts to reconstruct the sessions, to do investigation, to do hunting, whatever is necessary to even detect very, very high efficient attacks. But let's now come to today's theme. Why is traditional security failing? So what we see sometimes is when security teams return in the morning shift starts, the SOC SIM system is lightning like a Christmas tree, right? Alerts everywhere, hundreds of alerts, even thousands of alerts. The problem that we have there is that the traditional security tools, they are designed to detect after something has happened, right? So the detection triggers when the attack is already live, when the infrastructure has been already set up, the malicious domains are being registered, the command and control servers are brought up, and maybe phishing kits have been deployed. So phishing campaigns have been rolled out, and these are the results of the alert. If you look at the attack timeline, the detection is based on something to happen. But days before or even weeks before, the attacker already spent the time to register the domains, to create the C2 stacks for communication, whatever is needed. They create the phishing kits which they want to deploy, and then at day zero the attack starts. The alerts are being created, detected by your security, by your traditional security systems. And that means that now the security teams, they face a very, very high spike of alerts. They are under pressure. They need to react very, very fast on things which they might not know yet, because they need to investigate every single alert. They cannot judge automatically on the criticality of an alert. Every single alert needs to be revisited, and that results automatically in the longer dwell time, the time that an attacker has to do whatever they want to do, right, without being detected, without being prevented from doing it. And that results also in a higher mean time to containment, which means that the probability that some data is being exfiltrated, that some data breach is happening is very, very high. Let me now look into the challenges that some teams are facing when they are under pressure. So in this case, like command and control is active, the teams are under pressure. I mentioned already some things. We have a high alert overload. Every single alert needs to be investigated, needs to be judged on. what the action need to be. And if you look at modern attacks, they are more speedy than I would say years ago. So lateral movements will occur even in minutes. Yeah. And we might have ransomware encrypting all your data within minutes, and every second counts. And because the teams need to look into alerts, they need to investigate IP address, they need to check the domains that they were seeing, and that creates a bottleneck. And working on a lot of alerts takes them a lot of time, which they don't have, and they have also a very, very low confidence because of these noisy indicators, because having tons of alerts, they don't know what needs to be prioritized, what systems need to be isolated, etc., what needs to be done. As an example, here on the left side, we have something that happened to one of our users. They had a phishing campaign running, or even a C2 campaign running against them. And they had about 15,000 alerts created over the course of a few days. I don't know if it was exactly a week, but it was a few days. And they had 6 analysts in place. And if you do the math, that means 2,500 alerts per analyst. And we are then not talking about the mean time to contain of minutes or hours. They had like 36 hours, and it was nearly impossible for them to mitigate those alerts. So that's the reality that we see in the reactive security. The teams are always behind. They always need to chase something. They're always under pressure. So the question is, what if there would be a different way, right? So what can we do to shift away from these traditional security terms? And there's the predictive intelligence that we have with BforeAI, which gives us the possibility to see the attack or the attacker setting up their infrastructure way before they are using it. So you could get insight into a possible attack even weeks before it really starts. And that's what we are doing with the predictive intelligence. So moving from the reactive detection to something where we can anticipate. And how is that done? BforeAI, with whom we have a partnership with, they are using AI-powered systems where they are looking into domains that haven't been used in attacks yet, but have been registered. They detect the command and control infrastructure being brought up, being tested, and they are doing that by analyzing patterns which they have across millions of successful attacks that happened in the past. So they are looking into behaviors, into patterns on how a domain looks like that was just registered, how servers communicate between each other, and they give you have a median time of 18 days of advanced notice. So 18 days before the attack really happens, they can also already inform the customer with a very, very high prediction accuracy. And if the customer wants that, or if a specific license is in place, they can even do a preemptive takedown in 90%. That preemptive takedown means that even before those domains will be misused, or those C2 infrastructure will be misused, it is already been taken down, so it cannot do any harm to your business. How does that work in practice? The solution that BforeAI has, it's called PreCrime Defense. So PreCrime Defense is a system where, as I said, they use behavioral AI and graph inference to detect malicious infrastructure while it is being created, while it is being weaponized, right? And while in traditional security systems, we are talking about IOCs, the indicators of compromise, who are an evidence that something has already happened. Here at BforeAI, we are talking about indicators of future attacks, IOFAs. Those IOFAs are the prediction which the AI has found by analyzing all this data which has been captured. They are doing that in a massive graph database. A graph database contains so-called edges. Those are points or entities like IP addresses, domains, registration patterns, hosting information about hosting providers. And all those edges are put in relation in a graph. And by following those relations, by connecting those relations, they can anticipate and find out and tell with a very, very high accuracy if something is being malicious. And currently, more than 100,000 indicators of future attacks, entities or records are produced daily and are made available to our customers. And the system also allows to do an automated workflow. So it supports the monitoring, where what I just explained, the using behavioral AI, those malicious infrastructures are being detected. Then the prediction, is this good, is this bad? And then the system can disrupt and take down the systems. Disrupting means terminating communications from your infrastructure, from your clients, until this, for example, domain, this malicious domain has been taken down by the hosting provider or by law enforcement, right? And this data that BforeAI is producing can be easily integrated with any tool like NetWitness, of course, and any other SIEM, SOAR, EDR systems, DNS, firewalls, whatever customers have in place. Just a little bit more in detail how that works in detail. So what BforeAI does, it has a four-step process to get all this data. The first thing is the collection. So BforeAI operates a network of proprietary sensors, and those sensors monitor around a billion different infrastructures consisting of 500 million domains. They are observed continuously. So as soon as new domains are being registered, BforeAI knows it. Data collection is happening 5 to 10 times an hour, and that produces terabytes of data per day, which is then inserted into this massive graph database, which I mentioned before, and that's the step 2. So this graph database contains more than 400 billion different edges. As I said, edges meaning IP addresses, registration patterns, hosting providers, etc., etc. And following those relationships and analyzing these edges, around 5 billion malicious behaviors are identified and mapped already in that database. And the creation or the detection of these malicious behaviors is done in this step number 3, where we have the AI-powered analysis, where all the data that is inserted in the graph database is being analyzed, and we do community detection, where we analyze clusters of domains that looking in a similar way, that are being used in what that shows similar objects or adjectives, and then anomaly detection is happening, where we are looking if a domain or an infrastructure being set up is behaving different from a good behavior. And then a forecast is being done. If a new infrastructure being detected, a new domain being detected with all those attributes that we have seen might be used in a malicious way. And this produces this 100,000 indicators of future attacks daily. And the fourth step is that the system can also be configured in a way to act automatically, where using the extensive partner network for disruption and for takedown can result in traffic being disrupted, which means if a client on your side is already infected, wants to make a connection to one of those malicious infrastructures, to a C2 server, for example, or talking to a specific domain by using partners like Quad9, VirusTotal, Google Safe Browsing, etc. The traffic will be disrupted, and that gives BforeAI enough time to do the takedown. And in 90%, the preemptive takedown is happening. Preemptive takedown in this case means that the sites, the domains, the infrastructures are being taken down before even a first contact has been established to them. So that's the way it works. From a product perspective, we have two complementary products, which are like similar in NetWitness, hosted in one single platform, available in one single platform. We have on the one side the PreCrime Intelligence. PreCrime Intelligence is a feed which contains this 100,000 IOFAs, which I mentioned before, which is detected in this detection process. And those indicators of future attacks have shown with a median of 18 days ahead, which means you see IP addresses, domains, host names appear in this feed 18 days, 30 days before they would really be used against you or another customer. And that feed has a very, very low false positive rate of 0.05%, and I'll show you some analysis on that later on. This data, which is provided to NetWitness and other tools in form of feeds. The process to create this feed is a continuous process, as I said, 5 to 10 times a day. We've collecting that data, and we are producing then the feed, and we are doing a self-correction so that the false positive rate always stays at this low value. That's the feed that we have on the one side. On the right side, we have the pre-crime defense. The pre-crime defense is all around brand protection and fraud prevention. So here we are talking about brand impersonation threats, where someone might misuse a brand of a company. And with this service, BforeAI is monitoring 99% of the global internet traffic, and we are able to alert 24 to 96 hours ahead any other detection or threat detection company, which gives our customers enough time to be warned that something is going on against them, that they will be able to weaponize themselves to create rules, to create any other detection mechanism that is being needed. But most of the times that attack never would happen, because 90% of the takedowns are already pre-content, like I explained before even the first establishment or the first misuse of such a brand is being done. It is already being taken down, and that is done with the help of our takedown partners. Just an example on how the feed would look like in NetWitness. As you know, we are distributing the feeds via NetWitness Live. And this is a screenshot from the CCM, the Content Configuration Management System, where the feeds are shown here, and the BforeAI feed is the first watch BforeAI intelligence feed. If a customer subscribes to that feeds with that feed is updated twice a week, it will give you indicators like you see here, the IOC score and the feed name. So any IP detected by NetWitness or be it logs, be it network, will be flagged accordingly, and rules can be set up to alarm, to alert you just in case such a communication is happening. That was the pre-crime feed. If we talk about pre-crime defense now, which is the brand monitoring and takedown, this is while the feed which I just mentioned before is for free to any of a licensed NetWitness customer, the brand monitoring and takedown is a paid service which you can license from us, and this service will enable the monitoring of a brand. We have, for example, a customer in Italy, a bank in Italy, which is using this service. Before they had this service in use, they had around 8 million of reimbursements per day, which they had due to financial fraud, and which also includes phishing attacks. And after they put the system in place, where they were registering two of their brands, of their domains, they detected in a very, very short time around 300 different phishing attempts against them. And they got, at the end, a 96% reduction in fraud, which saved them immediately around 7 million. And they report that after 2.5 years of using the system, they see a 100 times of ROI on that solution. So very, very efficient by just implementing this protection. How does it work when we detect something? I already mentioned the disruption and the takedown service. So once a customer has registered the brands, the monitoring starts. The global internet traffic is being monitored by the system, and when something is detected, normally within the first 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, 75% of all the potential malicious internet traffic will be preempted. Preempting means that it will be detected. Our disruption partners with whom we work with will be they also put their rules in place, and that gives us enough time to do the takedown. Because if a malicious infrastructure is hosted in, I don't know, North Korea or Russia, it might not be so easy to take down that, to talk to law enforcement, to talk to hosting providers. But even if we are not succeeding in such a case to take down an infrastructure, we still are able to terminate the traffic, to not allow infected machines to communicate with this infrastructure. And this is, as I said, done with disruption partners that we have, where some of them are shown here. They receive automatically our disruption requests, and without a customer or a client to do anything, these policies are automatically enforced and the systems are being protected. Just a comparison on the takedown service that we offer via BforeAI versus traditional takedowns. The most important metric, I think, is the one that you see on the top, is the takedown timeline. Because BforeAI detects an attack before it really starts, we can already react on it, whereas other services can only initiate the takedown if something has been detected, which means the attack is already in place. The bad thing has already started. You see all the other metrics here. I won't read it in because of the timing, but the one thing I think that is also important to mention is the no content takedown. So because 80% of the takedown is already happening before the content really appears. I mentioned that already several times. This is something that no other takedown service, no other traditional takedown service can do. Just go into a real world scenario from where we see from the prediction of BforeAI to the real containment, how such a workflow would look like. If you look at on the left side, that is 7 days before the attack really starts. The BforeAI predictive models was detecting in that case that a cluster of 12 domains has been spun up, and we saw all signs of that this could be malicious. It was like a privacy protected registration. It was hosted on a bulletproof provider. Certificate anomalies have been shown, and all the DNS behaviors that we see, that they were consistent with the future command and control use. And because of that, there was a 90% of confidence. Remember, there was no domain used yet. It was just registered. They were not on any public block list, but just because of analyzing the patterns, that was flagged. The action that was happening is that this cluster of the 12 domains was automatically added to the pre-crime feed, which was then made available to our customers. On day 5 before the attack, the security team was noticing this information from the feed, from the information, and started to analyze it. They were not 100% sure if they should already block it, because there was a small chance that this could be a false positive. So they decided to create policies, egress policies on the NetWitness side, but to have some alerts being produced, but they also put a policy on their firewall which should alarm them. And finally, 2 days before the actual start of the attack, they saw first DNS queries coming from 2 different workstations early in the morning. They shouldn't be active. They shouldn't connect to any of those domains, which raised finally the alarm. So the team got alarmed. Of course, the DNS request did not went through because of the egress policy put in place on the firewall 3 days before. And then 1 day before the attack, the team was analyzing it using all the tools they had in place. One of them was NetWitness, where they were analyzing what was happening, the network traffic was happening. They found out that those 2 hosts were part of a phishing campaign, so they were spear phished. They got some malware downloaded, which got installed persistently to be able to be weaponized when the real attack is being started. This resulted now then to isolate those suspected hosts. They took all the data for forensics purposes, and they also used the information which they gathered to hunt in the system for similar patterns to find out if maybe other workstations would also be affected. And then there was the day 0 where the attack really should have started, right? And I said should have started because it couldn't, because at that time all the access to those C2 servers, access to those domains that have been spun up were protected, were disrupted by the rules that the team had in place, which means when the attackers started to send the controls to the infected workstation to establish connections with them. It didn't work. And because of that, with a very, very low MTTC, mean time to contain, the customer had, in fact, zero data loss, which means from the successful prediction to the real attack, they were informed 7 days in advance. They had enough time to create all the necessary steps to prevent this attack, and that resulted in a successful prevention of the attack. Just an example of how that works. Also a real-world scenario from our side. We have, of course, our own brand, NetWitness.com, registered with BforeAI. And one of our colleagues was registering a domain called NetWitnessLabs.com, which we want to use in the future to distribute community content. And roughly 2 hours after this domain has been registered, John, who was the recipient for the brand monitoring, was receiving this email from BforeAI, where he was told that someone was registering this attack URL NetWitnessLabs.com on the protected asset NetWitness.com, and and they were telling him what steps could be done or what should be done. In a case where that would be malicious, and in our case it wasn't, because John was informed that we want to do that. So in a real world scenario where we would have the problem, we could have then started an automated takedown of NetWitnessLabs.com automated protection, or we could on our side in our SOC have been prevented any communication. So this is how the brand protection works. Customers are informed, and that was just one way to be informed. We have, of course, dashboards available where we would see attacks that are being currently run against our brand. So, having now talked about the capabilities that BforeAI can do for us, what would be the business outcomes? Where would it help us? The first major benefit you see right in the title, it's earlier detection. If you have an earlier detection, if you know something in advance, you have faster containment, you can prevent it. Because of being able to identify these malicious domains, the command and control servers in an early stage, we are also able to create in a silent mode before we even are under attack. We can create our policies, our rules to either alert us or to block access to that domain. We are also able to create playbooks, to create workflows, to create procedures for our SOC team, so that when the attack really happens, and not everything can be prevented, some things can go through, but in this case, they are informed, they know what needs to be done. And when the attack then really happens, in most of the time, because of the preemptive shutdowns, it will not be possible anymore to harm the system, which means we are going from, if you look at the detection metrics, that the mean time to contain goes from hours or days, in which it is normally measured, to minutes or even seconds. So this is the one thing. But speed is not the only thing that we should look at. It is also the context, how to make decisions, because in a SOC, analysts are always need to judge what needs to be done. Do we block this domain? Do we need to isolate this host? Do we need to escalate that to incident response? Do we need to invoke data breach procedures? Whatever needs to be done as part of their workflow. And if we now use this information which we get from the predictive indicators, and we correlate that with all the data that we have in our NetWitness platform, where we have all the DNS information from our DNS parsers, and also maybe from logs that we get, proxy logs that we get, NetFlow, or even the plain network data that our sensors are being capturing, up to identity logs. By using this information together with the predictive indicators, we see the full context around those indicators. We understand which users are involved. We understand which devices and their criticality are involved in an attack, and that gives us better judgment to find out what the next steps need to be. Do we need to block something? Do we need to isolate something? And BforeAI also allows us to give feedback. So the more data points we detect in a correlation, like is there a user involved? Is there a DNS involved? Is there a proxy log involved? The more confidence scoring we do, and we are reducing false positives using that mechanism. So if we just do now a quick comparison before we come to the end on traditional versus predictive security, where we have the reactive and the proactive part of working, we see those things. The trigger is, in a reactive way, always post-compromise and alert. So something needs to happen that something is triggered, which means we have a 2 to 3 days delay, because on the other side, on the proactive side, we already know up to 14 days in advance, 18 days in advance, that something might happen. So the trigger is that we are informed already. Or BforeAI suspects that something might happen in 14 days, which gives us the possibility to install rules, to install watch list, etc. On the visibility side, we are always behind. We always see the partial thing. We only see parts of the attack. We need to look back to try to get all the information about the specific attack, which means we have only a fragmented picture of the visibility. Whereas by using the external signals, the predictive indicators that we receive, and our internal telemetry, which I mentioned before, the DNS logs, the proxy logs, etc., we get the full picture who is involved or what will be involved in this attack, and also in the time horizon. On the left side, we are talking minutes to hours, because teams are working under pressure. They need to do rapid response. They need to make a quick judgment, and they might not have all the context which we had in the previous slide. And in the proactive way, because we are informed weeks before the attack really happens, we can make our proactive threat anticipation, can create whatever is necessary. And also on the action side, there's the manual triage. Analysts need to look through a lot of incidents, make judgments, make the lookups of IP addresses, lookup of domains. Whereas on the other side, we have the automated response. We are informed by BforeAI that these IPs, these domains are problematic. We have also guided playbooks in place, or we can even create automated playbooks in order to mitigate that. And that automatically results then in a lower volume of alerts, which means that analysts can really work on alerts that matter and don't need to waste time on alerts that are not so important. And there we come to the matrices and the alert fatigueness. So like in the beginning, we had this example where the customer received 15,000 alerts on a week, which means that the MTTC was really high. And by reducing the alert volume, we have analysts working on things that really matter to them, that are really important, which means they are able to resolve things faster, and that results automatically in a reduction of the MTTC. And then there is also something, the detection lead time, that could be a metrics to a customer when they want to monitor the efficiency of such a system, because that metric is only available when someone is using the predictive intelligence, because that metric tells us how far in it or how in advance you are informed that something might happen. And this is something you don't have in traditional systems. And also one thing to monitor is then the alert fatigueness and how analysts are behaving or being happy if you don't have a high turnaround, because of analysts don't need to work on thousands of events. They can only work on few events, on few alerts that matter to them, that automatically results in analysts being more happy. So some of the metrics is to matter. And in order to prove how BforeAI works, we have an independent validation that was done by a company called DNS Filter. DNS Filter is an independent cybersecurity company, and they were analyzing the capabilities of BforeAI. So it was not a study that BforeAI did. It was done by this independent company, and they analyzed 1.8 million domains over a period of 6 months, and validated how BforeAI can fulfill what they are claiming to do. And what they found out is that 97.35% unique threats were detected by BforeAI. Only no other vendor within these 6 months was detecting that. They had 90% of cases identified faster than any competitors, and 50% of them were identified 3 or more weeks earlier than anyone else, if they did. Then also the accuracy. There is a list of legitimate websites called from Tranco. Tranco has the top 1 million legitimate websites, and they were checking the flagged domains against this 1 million websites, and only 0.18% of domains that have been flagged by BforeAI have been seen as potential false positive. And that results also in a productive site in about 0.05% of a false positive rate, which is premium in the industry. No one else can do that. And like the prediction level, as I mentioned already several times, we had a median of 18 days of lead time, and about 60.8% of all those predictive indicators were first seen by BforeAI before even contacts have been established. And the coverage was, like as I mentioned, more than 1 billion of infrastructures with 500 million of domains. So that really proves that you see below in the key findings that BforeAI is a system that customers can really trust. So as a summary, as the key takeaways from this webinar is that the predictive intelligence gives you the ability to detect infrastructures weeks before they're being used. So you are no longer reacting to attacks, you are anticipating them, and you can prevent them before they even start to materialize. Correlation. So the predictive intelligence alone is already valuable. But if you are able to correlate those predictions with the deep visibility that you get from NetWitness, you have better confidence. You are able to know exactly what is happening, who is affected, what is affected, and what response is appropriate to the attack. You don't need to guess. You don't waste time. You are really effective with that. And then the third takeaway is the earlier detection, and that's the key thing. That's the most important thing to the business that matters. It's the MTTC, the mean time to containment, which drops dramatically. If you are using such a system, it drops from hours to days, which means that you can work with a high fidelity system. Your team does not need to firefight, but they can do strategic hunting. So the future of security isn't about responding faster to attacks. It's about seeing them coming and stopping them before they begin. And that future is available today. Thank you.